Hello everyone, it's Space Chaser again. Welcome to another model review video, and this time we've got a brand new model, a rarity for this channel. The model in question is the Northcord Model Company Alexander Dennis Enviro 400MMC, and the one we've got is catalogue number UK Bus 6538 in the B Network livery. Unless you've been on the moon, you can't really have missed the B Network. It's the idea of taking Greater Manchester's buses back into public control. They've been Transport for Greater Manchester have franchised out the routes in groups to various operators, and they're required to paint the buses in this yellow livery with B Network branding. The actual bus modelled is a Stagecoach Manchester bus, fleet number 11852, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So Northcord Model Company rose from the ashes of Creative Master Northcord. Creative Master Northcord appeared probably towards the end of the 90s, the early 2000s, but towards the end of 2011 they ceased trading. Almost a year later, October 2012, there was an announcement that a new company was being set up to acquire the moulds. That was the Northcord Model Company, and they've continued to produce models since. They mainly produce the old Creative Master models. They've reintroduced a number of those. However, the Enviro 400MMC was a brand new casting for Northcord Model Company. The real Enviro 400 was introduced by Alexander Dennis in 2006 in its original form. In 2014 they introduced the MMC version. MMC stood for Major Model Change. It was a restyled bus. Underneath the bonnet it was Euro 6 compliant as well. And there was also a real effort to try and put it together a bit better. There had been complaints about Alexander Dennis's build quality, and so the MMC, they made an effort to try and screw it together a bit better, and as I say, improve the quality of it. The original style Enviro 400 remained available for a few years after the MMC was introduced. It's about 2018 that was finally phased out, and that left the MMC as the standard offering. Still available now. They've just about started to restyle it now. I'm doing this in February 2025, but until very recently you can still see buses that look like this coming into service, and there may well be quite a few coming in even after I do this video. So the actual casting was introduced by Northcord Model Company in March 2018. Between then and when I'm doing this video in February 2025, there have been 53 releases of the MMC, either produced or about to be produced. There's a handful that are still to go into production but are due imminently as I'm doing this video. There are 4 variants of it. There are short and long wheelbase, and there are also single and dual door versions of both of those. The one we've got is a long wheelbase single door version, as you can see. As we'll see shortly, it represents vehicle YX24PKN, as I said, Stagecoach Manchester, fleet number 11852. The real bus was new in March 2024 to Stagecoach Manchester. It was delivered new in the B Network livery. It worked initially from Hyde Road Garage on the South Manchester routes, but around the time of Tranche 3, towards the end of 2024, January 2025, it was transferred across to Queen's Road Garage in North Manchester, and it's modelled working from Queen's Road in this one. Queen's Road, quite a complicated history. It's been operated by Manchester Corporation, Selneck PTE, Greater Manchester PTE, GM Buses North, First Manchester. When first sold the Manchester operation to Go Ahead in 2019, it became the centre of Go North West operations for a while, and then in one of the tranches of the B Network franchising, Go Ahead lost the routes from Queen's Road, and the depot and routes passed to Stagecoach. So it's operated for 3 of the major groups. It's still going now as I'm doing this video, and it's had a very interesting history. So what we'll do is we'll take the model out of the box, then we'll have a look around it, and then I'll talk as always about price. There are a couple of little warnings about the prices on these as well, but I'll come to those later on. But first of all, let's get it out of the box. And there it is. So Northcords are not screwed into the boxes. They have this bit of plastic that goes over the roof that wedges the top of the bus. It sits against the top of the box. It wedges the bus into place. And then on the underside, there's some holes that locate into these little sort of bobbles you can see on the base plate. So you don't have to unscrew it, unlike a lot of manufacturers. It just comes off the base. Just be careful, because this one sort of fell over when I was taking it out of the box. It came out very, very easily indeed. So obviously there's a risk you might damage some of the detail if you're not quite careful. So the initial impression of the bus as an Enviro 400MMC is pretty decent, it has to be said. I must say that when I first took delivery of this model I was quite disappointed in it, and I know that's a bit of a weird thing to say, but there's a couple of things that don't look quite right about it. First of all, the shade of yellow looks too pale. I'm aware there's quite a few different shades of yellow. The buses, some of them have been delivered new in this livery, including this one in real life, and they've been painted by the various manufacturers, and a lot of vehicles have been repainted by different contractors, and it's fair to say that some manufacturers and contractors have had different shades of paint to other ones. They probably shouldn't. I'm sure there's a standard paint colour that they're supposed to adhere to, but there is some variation in real life. If you go and look at the buses of Manchester, there is some variation in the actual colouring of them. But yeah, to my eyes, this yellow looks a little bit too pale. Another thing, I don't know if you can see it on the video, we'll just try and hold the bus up a little bit. Just let me turn the light round a little bit, there we go. The paint isn't quite correctly into the panel joins. There's a little bit where it's not quite as good as it should be. And that's not quite what you expect on a Northcord model. They're normally absolutely on point. So I was slightly disappointed. It's not too bad. It does look pretty reasonable. From a normal viewing distance, it looks close enough. So let's have a bit of a closer look at it. So the front is well done, which is always a good thing. We always start with the front, the bit that you can normally see. I don't know if you can see on the video, yeah, you hopefully just about can. You can see the little sort of repeater lights or marker lights just on the roof there. The shape of the front dome and the front window is very good. There's a little bit of raggedness about the black edging of the window, but not too bad. And then coming down, you've got the destination area with these lovely flared out black bits that are a feature of the real thing. It's modelled on Route 100, which runs between Manchester and Warrington at its full length. 1 an hour runs between Shude Hill Interchange and Warrington, and there are also short workings from Shude Hill to the Trafford Centre and to Hollins Green. So out of Manchester Centre it runs every 15 minutes. As I say, only once an hour through to Warrington. This one, a lovely little feature of it as well, it's got the intermediate blind on the rail buses scrolls across all the time, so it's got sort of part of a bit of display showing. It would say like via so-and-so, so-and-so, and Salford Shopping Centre, so you've just got Salford Shopping Centre as if it's scrolling across, which is a nice feature. Looks really, really good. Windscreen wipers nicely modelled at the top of the screen there. I'm sorry, let's try and get some more light onto it. There we go, I've just dropped my light onto the floor. So yeah, wipers nicely modelled. The windscreen looks a good shape and size. It's all really good. And the lights nicely modelled. A little bit of black overpaint there, you can see. But yeah, very nice indeed. Not too bad at all, to be honest. Mirrors look very good. Different shapes of the arms as there would be on the offside and near side. The near side one looking very effective and also looking very likely to get smashed off if you're not careful. So I'll try to be. You've got the tree guard up on the top there to stop trees from breaking the windows. Round to the near side, it looks pretty good. The steps about the right shape and size, there's some relief to it. The doors look really good, as do the windows, all about right. Nicely done. Legal lettering, I'm fairly sure it should actually be behind the rear wheel. Most buses running in Manchester in B-Network livery have got it there. It seems to be a standard placement, but I may be wrong. This one may have it where it's modelled in real life there. The grills look effective. They're painted nicely. They're picked out very nicely in black. This strange feature of the livery, this black bit that sweeps around, that is a real feature. I'm not quite sure why that's been specified because it looks a bit weird. But yeah, it's nicely replicated. You've got the repeater marker lights there on the side as well, and the wheels look good. But yeah, very, very nice indeed. There is a side blind. It's hard to read because it's done in white as the real one would be, but it's yeah, 100 Manchester on there. But yeah, it all looks very good. CCTV cameras are just painted on. You've got one at the front there above the door and one at the back. You can see the silver surround of it in among the black stripe there. Go around to the back again, it's pretty good. You've got the repeater marker lights up on the top there. There is some relief to those front and back as well. They're not just painted on. And again, the shape of the back looks really good. The repeater lights up there, CCTV camera in the middle. The blind, again, Manchester Salford Shopping Centre. B Network logo, fleet number, everything is there that should be, and it all looks pretty decent. The lights look a little bit weird. There's an attempt to make them look like the modern kind of LED ones, but they actually look a little bit faint. They'd probably look a bit closer if they were just painted on as normal, to be honest. But that's something you could do if you wanted to do a few alterations to your bus when you've got it. But yeah, it all looks really good. The shape of it is nice. The little cutaway that the registration plate's in. The exhaust looks good. The big silver kind of flat exhaust that a lot of buses have nowadays. Very, very nice indeed. Round to the offside, again, very good. Like the near side, the wheels look good. You've got the various filler caps and things. That one's printed on. These are actually cast in and picked out in paint. But yeah, the effect is very good. The B Network livery specification has this sloping bit as well painted on, which is represented nicely. One slightly jarring feature that you can see on both the near side and the offside, the edge of this pillar is yellow and it shows through. It'd be better if it was painted black, to be honest, so it didn't show out. There shouldn't be this kind of yellow line among it, but it's only a minor irritation. It's nothing too major to worry about. Look at the roof, not much to report, but the detail is pretty nice that is there. You've got these bits on top. I'm guessing radio, aerial cover, etc., things like that. If we flip it over, you've got a basic chassis detail. You can just see there's framework, some of the cable runs and things there, and the underside of the engine, but not much to report. And then the interior, I'll just try and hold the light round so you can see it a bit better. Or possibly not. There is some variation in colour. The floor is a different colour to the seats, as you would expect on a Northcord release. And it's all nicely detailed. The colour doesn't look quite right. The B Network specification interior, the seats are grey, but they're a little bit darker than this. This has got a kind of bluish tinge to it. It doesn't look quite right, but it's pretty close, to be honest. It's not too bad. You've got the anti-assault screen modelled there and all that kind of thing, so it's nicely detailed. And all in all, it is a very nice model. So we come to price. Now, all of the ones that I've seen for sale at the moment are new, because this model is quite literally newly released. I'm doing this video on the 18th of February 2025. This bus arrived with me yesterday on the 17th, and if I don't get the video put onto YouTube today, it will be on tomorrow the 19th. So I couldn't do it any quicker if I tried, really. I've even recorded it even though I'm full of cold. I was going to wait until it had subsided, but I decided to do it because they're selling like hotcakes. This one I pre-ordered from TTC Diecast. It cost me $58.50 all in. That was $53.50 for the model and £5 for the postage and packing. And that was about the going rate that most dealers were offering them for on pre-order. It vanished from TTC's website about a couple of months before it actually came out, because I assumed they'd sold all their allocation on pre-order. And there is the problem with pricing. That is the kind of price you can get one for if you pre-order it. As I say, about $58.50 it was, so somewhere between £55–60. At most dealers you can pre-order one for that. If you don't pre-order one, you are at the mercy of the market, and here is a problem. Now, I promised a word of warning, and it is this. These models are distributed in Hong Kong and in the UK. There are 1,200 of this particular release, the B Network one. Some of those will have been sold in Hong Kong. I believe a handful have been sold in Japan as well. I'm not 100% sure how many, but the vast majority of them are shipped to the UK. Now what happens, that's what Northcord do with all their releases, is split them between Hong Kong and the UK and sometimes Japan. They come out in Hong Kong about 4 to 6 weeks before they come out in the UK. And the reason for that is quite simply they're made in China, so the time delay for the UK is the length of time it takes the boat that they're on to sail round from Hong Kong to whichever port it lands in the UK, and the bus is to be distributed. Now, a few weeks before this came out in the UK, a couple appeared on eBay for a whopping £200 a piece, plus postage. And what they were obviously Hong Kong releases that somebody had been over to Hong Kong, bought a couple and put them in the suitcase and brought them back. Now, at the time, you could still pre-order some of these from some of the dealers who had some left for, as I say, about £60. So it's a little bit of profiteering. Obviously, if you'd looked on, done a quick eBay search, you wouldn't have found any more for sale because it wasn't released at the time, and you might have felt pressured into paying 200 quid where you didn't actually need to. That said, now it's come out, most dealers have sold their allocation on pre-order of this one. I've had a look on eBay this morning for the purpose of this video. The cheapest one I could find was $149.95, including postage and packing, and the most expensive was $175 plus £5 postage and packing, so $180. They were buy it now prices. There were a couple on bids that were working their way up. There was one on bids that was starting at $199.99. As you can probably imagine, that hadn't had any bids on it at the moment. But for buying it now, you're looking somewhere between 150 and 180 quid. It's a lot of money, but it tends to happen quite a bit with the Northcords. They are in short supply. They don't produce that many of them, and they are quite popular. Most of them, not all, but any that represent, Stagecoach, Enviro, First, that kind of thing, the big groups, and also things like this, the B network, they will tend to sell out, and you will tend to have to pay stupid money for them. I've looked at some other dealers. The only one I could find that actually had any of these for sale were Liz Keith at Eastbourne, and they're £160 plus postage and packing, so you're looking at about £165 with the postage. The other MMCs in different liveries, the less popular ones, you can still get for between £50 and £60. So ones like the Go Southwest one, the Wilson Dorset as it used to be, in the X3 livery, that is still available for £50 to £60. Weirdly enough, although it's a go-ahead group bus, you'd think it'd be popular. It hasn't actually sold out, and quite a few dealers have got them for £50 to £60. Yellow Bus's Bournemouth is also available of the MMCs. That's available at quite a few places. Again, £50 to £60. But if you want the B network one, unfortunately you are looking at mega money at the moment. And the best advice I can give to you if you're looking at a Northcord model that's due out is to pre-order one, because you'll get it for about 60 quid. Whereas if you wait until it's released and then try and buy one, you'll end up paying, as I say, between 150 and 180 if you're unlucky and that model happens to be a sellout. So yeah, the best advice I can give you is just, as I say, pre-order one. If you see any for sale on eBay, and you think, oh, I didn't know that model was out yet, Model Bus Zone is a very good website to refer to. If you look at that, it will tell you if the model has been released in the UK or not. And if it hasn't, then they're Hong Kong releases that people are selling at a massive profit, basically. So I'd just wait for the UK release to come out before you buy one. But yeah, it's definitely worth getting one. I mean, obviously, if you're modelling the contemporary scene around Greater Manchester, you're going to need one of these. In fact, you're going to need several. And if you want an Enviro 400MMC, I mean, if you just want an Enviro 400MMC because you like the design of bus, I'd go and buy a 50 quid one in the livery of, Wilson Dorset or Go South Coast or whatever they're called this week, or yellow buses, and you get one that way rather than, paying mega bucks for this particular one. But yeah, definitely a nice model. As I say, to me it does look the wrong shade of yellow, but that might just be my eyes. You don't know, do you? But anyway, nice model. If you can find one without breaking the bank, you're doing very, very well indeed. As always, thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.